Zenith makes some beautiful watches, some really beautiful chronographs featuring their El Primero movement. This is a very modern version of their El Primero, the Skyline Ceramic. It gets everything that you would expect from an El Primero, however, it is in full ceramic, case and bracelet. It gets the 1/10 of a second hand, and it's one of the things that sets Zenith and the El Primero apart. I have one hands-on, so let's flip the camera and take a look at the Skyline Ceramic El Primero. Every time I feature an El Primero here on my channel, specifically the Defy, I ask myself the question, why don't I have an El Primero in my life? I have a Zenith, but I don't have an El Primero. And here's the reason why. There's one reason why I need to have one of these in my life. It's that second hand. I love seeing that second hand fly around the dial. There's a 1/10 of a second chronograph. There are two seconds hands. You have a second hand at the 9 o'clock position, and then of course you have that chronograph second hand, which is a 1/10 of a second that just flies around the dial. And it's just fun to look at. That's the only way I could describe it. There's no real reason why I love it. It's just fun to look at. And this is a really good looking version of the Defy chronograph. This is in full ceramic. I have the ceramic skeleton on my wrist, which could be maybe the best looking ceramic watch that they currently make, in my opinion. This is maybe a close second, or maybe even a tie with that watch, because if you don't like a skeletonized movement, then this is definitely the way to go. This gets a beautiful gray black fume dial, and there's a star pattern on there, the Zenith star. Everything here is ceramic. The pushers are ceramic. The crown, which is screwed in, is ceramic. You get to see the movement from the back. You have a ceramic bracelet, ceramic bezel, ceramic case. Everything is ceramic, and it feels really nicely finished in hand. You have this beautiful line of polish that goes through the entire bracelet. When you flip it over, you get to see the El Primero movement, which is beautifully finished. That large star rotor, and I believe this one gets the caliber 3600, which is of course their high frequency column wheel chronograph that gets that 1/10 of a second indicator, and it is pretty amazing. The bracelet is signed with the Zenith logo right here. Flipping it on its side, you can see this is sort of an angular case. That's what the Defy is about. The vintage versions were very angular. The reissue is also very angular. On both sides, you have these large rectangular pushers that are really easy to use, a very large crown with their star logo. And then, of course, really it's all about the front of the watch on this watch. Because it's an El Primero, there's lots to see here, but it's also a beautiful movement, so flipping it over is just as fun. It comes with this ceramic bracelet, but it also comes with a rubber strap. Measurements on this watch, it's a 41mm watch, so technically a 41mm watch. I would say it looks and wears like a 42mm because of those pushers and that crown. So there's a lot of extra material on this side of the watch, so it does wear a little bit larger than its dimensions. You have around a 13mm thickness, which is really good for a chronograph, and then a lug-to-lug of around 47.5. However, it doesn't wear like a 47.5 because you do have female end links, but they wear like male end links, so it comes in at around 54mm. So just something to keep in mind. All of these Defy wear that way, so they wear a little bit larger than their dimensions. So I would say this wears like a 42mm watch. Like I said, I have the skeletonized version of this as well. So it's not the skeletonized version of the chronograph. This is just a skeletonized version of the El Primero with their 1/10 of a second at the 6 o'clock. And it flies around the dial. Again, really just a piece of theater for the wrist. This one is also in ceramic, but you're getting that gold skeletonized movement. This one's 40mm, and you can see what I'm saying. This wears like a 40 or a 41mm, I would say, more closely to a 41mm because of the way that the case and the bracelet interact. But with that being said, it wears really nicely on my 7.5-inch wrist. And there is the Defy El Primero ceramic on my 7.5-inch wrist. And it does wear like a 42mm watch, I would say, even though it's sized at 41mm at the case. And then you have around a 47.5mm lug to lug. It wears more like a 53 or 54mm lug to lug, and then a 13mm thickness. And you can see it's not that thick on my 7.5-inch wrist, considering that's a El Primero inside and it's a chronograph, so obviously chronographs wear thicker. Really good looking watch. I think it wears really nicely on my 7.5-inch wrist. If you have smaller wrist than me, this is going to work. There are other El Primeros that are smaller, but I don't know, something about this specific watch with this specific bracelet looks fantastic. It does, you know, wear visually a little bit smaller because of it being all black, but still, I think it wears a little bit larger than its dimensions. So this does have lume. Unfortunately, they didn't lume the second hand. They put a little bit of lume on that second hand for the chronograph. That would have been really cool because, I don't know, it would be fun to see that moving around in the dark. You can see that second hand just flash over the indices, so you can technically see that your watch is working in the dark, but with that being said, I wish there was a little bit of lume there. Other than that, I don't have any complaints about this watch, except for the price. Of course, these are expensive. There's a lot of engineering that goes into these watches. They're pretty amazing, and of course, it's got the historic El Primero movement, and there's a lot going into these watches. They are so cool. The price on this is $19,600. So that's a very expensive price tag for a watch that is really, really cool. But yes, of course, it is on the more expensive side. If you're looking for something like this, there really is no substitute. It's pretty amazing, and there are no watches that really offer a 1/10 of a second chronograph at this price. So there is that as well. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I will add a link to this watch down in the description. This is currently available on their website. I believe that skeletonized version is currently sold out unless they have restocked, but this one is available. I will add a link to it down in the description below. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I'll catch you guys in the next video.